We all have disagreements, right? It's just a part of life. But what if there was a fundamentally better way to have them? In this explainer, we're going to break down decades of research to show you exactly how to transform conflict from a battleground into a real opportunity for connection.
So, I want to kick things off with a number that might actually shock you: 96%. What on earth could this possibly refer to when it comes to arguments in a relationship? Well, this number, it's a total game changer.
That's right. According to the legendary relationship researcher Dr. John Gottman, the way a conversation starts predicts how it will end 96% of the time. Just the first 3 minutes. That initial move, the way you begin, it sets the whole tone. It's incredibly powerful.
Which, of course, leads us to the biggest question. If the beginning is that critical, how in the world do you get it right? How do you make sure you don't start down a path that pretty much guarantees a bad outcome? Okay, let's dive in.
It all starts with something called a soft startup. And honestly, this is the first and maybe the single most crucial skill in the anatomy of a better argument. Getting this part right can change literally everything that follows.
So what even is a soft startup? It's actually pretty simple, but it's profound. Instead of coming in hot and launching an attack on your partner's character, the whole "you're so inconsiderate," you talk about your feelings about a specific situation. It's the difference between an accusation and a real invitation to a conversation.
And check this out, there's actually a super simple formula for this. It's a 3-part recipe. First, I feel. You state your emotion. I feel hurt. Second, about, and you describe the specific, concrete behavior. About not being invited to happy hour with your friends. And third, and I need, where you state a positive need. And I need to feel included in your plans. See? It's direct, it's not blaming, and it actually opens the door to finding a solution together.
Of course, even with a perfect soft startup, things can still get, well, heated. And this brings us to the next phase, where we really have to watch out for what Dr. Gottman famously calls the 4 horsemen. 4 communication styles so destructive they can actually predict the end of a relationship. The first horseman is criticism. Now, this isn't just complaining. This is an attack on your partner's very character. It's the "you always" or "you never" statements. The antidote? A gentle complaint, just like we talked about. You focus on the specific behavior using "I feel" instead of "you are."
Okay, the second horseman, contempt. This one is the most dangerous. This is the mocking, the name-calling, the eye-rolling, any communication that sends a message of disgust. It is the single greatest predictor of divorce. The only way to fight it is to actively build a culture of appreciation. Really focusing on what you admire, expressing gratitude, and remembering your partner's good qualities even when you're mad.
Number 3 is defensiveness. We've all done this, right? It's that immediate reflex to play the victim or make excuses when you feel attacked. It feels natural, but all it does is escalate the conflict, because it's really just another form of blame. The antidote? Just take responsibility for even a tiny piece of the problem. A simple, "you know what, I can see your point," can completely shift the energy.
And the final horseman is stonewalling. This is when one partner just completely shuts down, disengages, puts up a wall. It's usually a response to feeling totally emotionally overwhelmed, or what researchers call flooded. The antidote isn't to force them to talk, it's to take an agreed-upon break, at least 20 minutes to calm down, with a promise to come back to the conversation later.
So what do you do when you're right in the middle of a heated moment and you see those horsemen riding in? You use what's called a repair attempt. Think of it as any statement or action that's designed to hit the brakes on all that negativity. It's like a little reset button for the conversation.
And the key here is that a repair attempt doesn't have to be some big, dramatic apology. As you can see, it can be as simple as, "Can I take that back?" or "Let me try that again." Even just, "I see your point." These little phrases are signals that you value the relationship more than you value winning the argument.
Now this is a gold standard example right here. It combines that vulnerability with taking responsibility, which is the direct antidote to defensiveness. It's just incredibly powerful for de-escalating a fight and showing your partner that you're both on the same team.
All right, so the fight might be over, but the work isn't quite done. The last phase of a healthy conflict is all about what happens after things have calmed down. This is the art of repair, and it's where you learn and truly reconnect.
So when you're both calm, you process the argument. It's kind of like a 3-step dance. First, each of you shares what you felt, using those "I felt" statements, and you don't debate the facts. Then you validate your partner's experience. This doesn't mean you have to agree with it, but you're saying, "I can see why you felt that way." Finally, you each accept some responsibility for your role in what happened.
And here is the absolute key. The goal in this moment is not to solve the problem. The goal is simply to understand each other's experience. When your partner feels heard and truly understood, that's when the connection is restored. Only then can you actually move on to solving the problem. Understanding has to come first.
So now that we have all these tools, let's just zoom out for a second and look at the big picture. This is where we get to shift our entire perspective on what our fights are even about in the first place.
I've got one more big number for you, 69%. And just like that first one, this statistic reveals a fundamental and kind of surprising truth about relationships.
Get this, 69% of a couple's problems are perpetual. That means they're based on fundamental differences in your personalities or your values. They are the same arguments you'll be having in 5 years and probably in 20 years. They can't be solved. They can only be managed.
So the real goal isn't to eliminate these problems, it's to move from being stuck in gridlock to having a continuous dialogue about them. You see, often that fight about money isn't just about money. It's about deeper, unspoken dreams of security or freedom. That fight about the messy kitchen might really be about a deeper value for order and peace.
And that's really the idea I want to leave you with. What if you went into your next disagreement with this question in mind? What if you tried to look past the surface-level issue and ask, what is the unspoken dream or the core value my partner is actually fighting for right now? That single question, it has the power to transform your next conflict from a fight into a chance to truly, deeply understand each other.